Welcome back. So today I was working on the project car and I came across something really cool. I think it's cool, you may think it's cool, but it's just a little tidbit of information, some science going on. So today what I'm going to be talking about is your ABS system. That stands for your analog brake system. Every modern car is equipped with an ABS. Even back through the 90s, possibly much earlier than that, I'm not 100% sure when it started. But it starts with this, and this. Now it may seem like I'm holding up a bunch of different parts, which, I am, but they all correlate to each other. First, we're going to start out with your main block. This is your main block. You have your 3 ports right here for fluid to come out of. You have your 2 main ports right here. As you can see, it says F and R for front and rear. And you see this big hole in the back. What is that hole for? Basically what this is your fluid will come through this port right here. And there's another piece, which I'm going to show you in a moment, that keeps it from going directly through this port right here and will direct it to this port. The reason that it does that is it's got this piece right here. We're just going to call this our top hat piece. The top hat piece has 3 ports as well, and it's got 3 openings on the very top, which is where lines go. You have your rear right, front right, and left front. I'm not sure why it doesn't have you know what? We're just gonna go rear. I'm pretty sure it's rear. We're just gonna leave it as is. But basically what it does is the fluid will come ported through here and out this end of the top hat. And the way that it figures out when it's supposed to get pressure is through this. This may look like just a big hunk of metal, or to some people it may look like, if you just looked at it from here, it may look like a starter generator for an older car. But in reality, it's a little rotor. This little rotor sits in here, just like that, and it sends a signal. The signal comes through here into this box. But you may be asking, what signal are you talking about? The signal that I'm talking about is this right here. This is a little roller that sits inside of this block. And on the inside of this block, when the fluid gets ported from the front to here, there's going to be this right here, this little check valve. It's got another little valve inside of it with springs and a check ball. Basically what that does is it senses fluid, senses pressure, how much pressure is built up. Now, that pressure that's built up is going to be running across this roller, depending on where the fluid is being applied to. Now, once that fluid has been applied, it sends a signal through this, we're just going to call it a rotor still, through this rotor, getting rid of those, and up through here. It's going to come through this hole here, with the signal at least, which is going to have a little plus sign. And what that plus sign does is it communicates with, where did it go? Not this one, but this connector right here. This connector goes back into the main harness and it comes out through the main harness into here. This harness sits on top of this, and once that harness is in and receives a signal, it energizes through a positive and a negative through these wires. Now, once those wires are energized, this right here gets energized. This is going to be your little valve, okay? What the valve does is once it senses a electronic signal, instead of it being closed and allowing the fluid to port down to the bottom, the fluid will actually port upwards once this has detected a electronic signal to allow the fluid to go to the brakes. Now, the reason why that is important is because what an ABS system does, or your anti-lock brake system does, is exactly as it says. It's an anti-lock brake system. So when you push extremely hard on your brakes and you need to slow down, we have what's called your brake lockup, where the brakes will actually seize because of too much pressure and it won't release the wheel. So your wheels will skid and you can crash. What the purpose of the ABS does is it senses that pressure and it'll open and close that valve. And once that valve is open and closed, it basically regulates the pressure going to the brakes to keep your wheel from locking up and skidding and getting into an accident. So when you get your ABS light flashing, it usually is a pretty significant issue. You have an ABS fuse, inside your main glove box or your fuse box, depending on what year your car is. A lot of the newer cars don't have it because a lot of their stuff is integrated. But it usually is a very big cause for concern, because the last thing you want is you're driving and it's late at night, it could be raining, and you have to slam on your brakes and your brakes lock up and you don't make it home. That's why the ABS system is so important, and I figured it would be so nice to show you guys what exactly goes into an ABS system, as well as I'm going to show you how the fluid ports and how the valve will open and close, and it changes the difference in the port that it goes to.